All right, now we're going to be going over the shoulder crunch sweep, setting up the shoulder crunch using that control to control our opponents. One of my favorite controls. So we'll go right back into butterfly guard, and here we are. When I set up my shoulder crunch, I like to start with like a little collar tie and a wrist grab. A lot of times they're trying to put pressure and come forward anyways. I get a collar tie and a wrist grab here. Move the arm out just a little bit so I can dive in and get an underhook and pull him tight to me. So from here, I walk myself up and in and get a nice underhook. I use my thumb blade here to kind of cup around like the curve of the shoulder. You can feel there's a little crease in the shoulder, especially when you pull their chest down, or their shoulder into your chest. You will feel a crease in their shoulder, and that's what I'm looking for with this underhook. So still grabbing the head, sliding through on this crease here, and then my hand comes from around the head. I come through and I reinforce this grip like so. So just a little collar grip around the head, push with my elbow, gable grip, and then I'm really pulling this shoulder tight to my chest. It's really important when we do shoulder crunch that we're actually crunching his shoulder like to my sternum. Because if he's able to start hanging and pull his arm out, yeah, I'm not going to have the same type of grip here. But if I bring his elbow over his shoulder here, I'll try to pull your arm out. Yes. And as he tries to get up and out, that gives me more options to scoot myself in to break his posture more. So one more time, just to set up the shoulder crunch, grab the head, grab the arm, diving in an underhook. And a lot of times I headbutt here just to make some connection. And that makes it harder for him to pull his shoulder away. As I scoot in, bring my arm around, grab my hand's gable grip, and then I slide right into my chest here. Really want to break his posture and bring his elbow up and over his shoulder. My other arm, my forearm on his face, is pushing into the chin here. So if we adjust just a little bit, you can see I'm pulling his shoulder to my chest, and this elbow is pushing into his face, and this makes quite a torque on his shoulder and his neck. You feel that? Yes. So then from here, he's going to try to back out of here. And as he does, that gives me space to scoot my butt in a little bit more. And then I can start to break his posture up and over my hips. And from here, he starts to float. From here, now I'm going to start cutting my angle. And as I do that, if he doesn't fall over, let's say he bases on this knee, that's where this foot goes to the floor. And I use this to come up and over, and I can end up in mount, or I can end up in a triangle position, or we can go right to side control if we prefer. So again, here we go. I grab the head, grab the wrist, scoot myself in here, nice deep underhook, pinch to my head. Come around his neck, start to get my gable grip on his shoulder. Pull his shoulder into my chest. I'm bringing my elbows home to keep this nice and tight. Make sure his elbow's raised over his shoulder, and I start to frame into his neck. As he tries to back out, I use that momentum to pull him up and then kick him over. The motion to sweep, as we talked about before, is always under, up, and over my shoulder. If you do any of the basic warm-up drills in jiu-jitsu, when we bridge, reach, kick up and over, that's the motion we do for butterfly sweeps. So one more time, full speed. He's coming into my butterfly guard, get a collar tie, dive for underhook, and we end up on top, and we've got an arm nice and isolated to work for whatever we want to work for up here. And that's a basic shoulder crunch sweep from butterfly guard.